Hey guys, and welcome back. Laz is here for Touch Plus again, and in this part we're going to carry on creating the threads for Wally. Okay, so last time this is where we left off, and in this part we're going to go ahead and add the studs in, and hopefully we'll get around to duplicate them around where they're meant to be as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make this live, and we're first going to go ahead and add this stud on this side. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a cube, and I'm going to drag it out to about roughly this size, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this up. So once we have this, I'm going to go into my top view, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate this probably around here roughly. Just look at my reference. Yeah, that looks about fine, and I'm just going to grab these vertices and push them out a bit more, and I think I've rotated it a little bit too much. Okay, so something like this. So once we have this, I'm also going to go ahead and start creating the next one, which is going to be sitting around here. So I think I might have made this a little bit too big. Let me just look at my reference. It should be okay, I think. Now I'm just going to quickly go into my front view and turn back on my references just to make sure that this is the right size, and it is. And go back into my top view. And again, I'm going to start with a cube, and I'm going to drag this one out to about here. Okay, and I'll just drag up for height again randomly for now, and we can go ahead and start moving bits around. So I'm just going to grab this top vertex, and I'm going to drag it to about roughly around here, and I'm going to drag this one to around here. And I know it looks like a mess at the moment, but this will be fine in just a minute. I think I'll also go ahead and move these down a bit, like so. Okay. It looks okay, but I think I'm going to go ahead and drag this down a bit more to around here and move this whole thing up a bit. Okay, so once I have this, I'm going to go ahead and select that face, go back into my top view, get my edit mesh panel again, and go ahead and hit extrude. And this piece is going to come down like so. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is straight, and I think I'm going to go ahead and grab these vertices and push them up a bit. Okay, so it looks something like this. And also you're going to go ahead and grab these and push them. I want this to be a little bit closer to this side, and I want these to be closer around here roughly. Okay, so that looks pretty good. This is what I'm looking for. Now I'm just going to grab this whole thing, make sure it's sitting inside a mesh, and same with this, and hopefully if I can look at my reference I might be able to see how tall these meant to be. So it's probably going to be around this tall. So what I'm going to do is, in my front view, I'm going to go ahead and grab these top vertices, pull them up and scale them so they're all the same height. Okay, and I can just go ahead and snap it to be this height exactly. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Now we can go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and make this not live, and also turn off my wireframe, and I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in the loops for this before we duplicate it over to the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. I'm gonna isolate it just so I can see what I'm doing. Insert edge loop tool, and gonna add one around here, one around here, one around there, around there, around there, and around here. Okay, and let's go ahead and smooth it just to see how smooth this comes out, and it's a little bit too smooth, so I'm going to pull this up, and I think we're going to go ahead and add one around halfway, just so I think we're going to go ahead and add in 2 more loops, so one around there and one around there, just so that corner keeps the shape a little bit better, so it won't be too smooth. Okay, that looks okay. Yeah, that looks alright. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this piece as well. Isolate. Here's my insert edge loop, one around here. I need a couple around here. Okay, so I think I've nearly there. Right, let's go ahead and smooth this, see how it's looking. Looking pretty good. Let's unisolate and see how the whole thing is looking. Alright, it looks great. So let's go ahead and start duplicating these to the other side. So I'm gonna X minus 1 and go into my top view, and I'm gonna go ahead and move this, and again turn my wireframe on just so I get a reference. Okay, that looks good. And same with this, let's duplicate this, and let's just go ahead and move this by hand, and gonna rotate this plus 15. I think it should work. There we go, and again line this up as well. So this bottom corner is nearly touching the edge, and this top corner is a little bit further away. Okay, so something like this. How far is this? Okay, so that looks okay. Let's go ahead and turn off our wireframe and have a look how our thread is looking, and it looks really nice. Okay, so basically we got our thread created. Now I'm going to go ahead and group this together and call it thread 1, and I'm also going to go ahead and go to modify center pivot. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and duplicate this around. Okay, so let's go ahead and start all the way up here, and let's start it. So basically we're just going to go ahead and rotate and move the pieces, and that's how we're going to get them into position, and hopefully it won't look too bad at the end. So what I'm going to try to line them up with is the bottom line of the reference. Okay, so duplicate, move it over, and I'm trying to line it up with this bottom line. Okay, so something like this. and I can also press Shift D and it will duplicate and move it the same amount that I did last time, and now I only have to do little adjustments, okay, like so. And obviously in a minute I'm going to have to start rotating them a little bit. So now for this piece, it's going to rotate quite a bit downwards. And don't worry about the gaps for now, we're going to sort them out later. Okay, so duplicate, move, rotate as you see it fit. And like I said, if we do rig this later on, we're going to do this differently, so we'll be able to animate the threads and so on. So we wouldn't have to do this. We would go ahead and get rid of all these pieces most likely, and only keep one, and then use a script. So we would go ahead and create a curve on which the these pieces would run on, okay, and then we would use a script to go ahead and make these follow that curve, right, and the script would do the most of the job for us. Obviously we would have to get the script or either write it ourselves, and then that way we'll be able to animate the threads easily and everything. So we would do this a lot differently, but for modeling sake, just to get a model, this will do the trick. This will be a lot faster, so you don't have to worry about the scripting stuff and curves and so on. So this will be easier for us at this moment in time. Just don't want to confuse you guys with scripting and all that sort. So this way should be a lot easier. Right, so from this bit I should be able to just Shift D it all the way along with tiny adjustments. Okay, and we are nearly there. Okay, so that goes there. We need two more. So that will go in here, and actually I'll rotate this a little bit more, duplicate once more, and this is our last piece. So this will go in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look how threads are looking. So let's just make sure that this is all smoothed. And as you can tell, we'll probably start to get some issues. I'm just going to go ahead and move these a little bit closer because they're right at the front, so there seems to be a big gap. And if you're wondering how I'm accessing the group, if you just click the piece and then press the up arrow on your keyboard, it will go ahead and pick the group that it is in. Okay, so select up arrow and then just drag and move. Okay, right, so that looks a little bit better. Seems to be a big gap there as well, but like I said, we're going to go ahead and sort it out in just a sec. I'm just going to go ahead and move this a tiny bit so it's that gap is not that big. Okay, something like this. Right, so this is done. We're going to go ahead and quickly group all this together. So I'm just going to select it all, Control G, and name our thread, and all these can be deleted. And now I'm just going to go ahead and go to modify center pivot. Right, so now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and quickly add this to a new layer. Okay, so you can go ahead and hide it so it doesn't waste performance. And what we're going to do is, if we got time, we're going to quickly go ahead and add them chain sort of things in that holds the threads together. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, we're going to go ahead and create a cube, and I'm going to try to do this pretty fast, and it's fairly simple, so you should be able to follow along. It's just for time's sake, I don't want this to go on forever. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and in my front view, go ahead and make sure that this is the right size. Well, actually it doesn't really matter because we're going to scale it later anyway. So let's go back into our side view, and what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and extrude this all the way along, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this a little bit thin, so it can go right in the middle of these threads. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select this face, go into my side view, and then go ahead and start extruding this. And what I'm sort of aiming for is try to get it each extrusion in the middle of each thread. So as you can tell, I just done that one. Now I'm going to go ahead and extrude it again, get it in the middle of that thread, and then rotate it so it's rotated correctly. Then extrude again, get it in the middle of that thread, rotate like so. Then G to extrude again, get it in the middle of this, rotate, G, whoops, like so. And now I don't really have to rotate it, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit G. I'm going to go ahead and drag it all the way across here because this should be a straight line roughly. So now I'm going to start doing the G, and then the extrusion and then rotation around. So this bit is fairly important because this is where we have that big gap. So I'm going to make sure that this is quite close to where it's meant to be. Right, so that looks okay, and again this bit should be pretty straight. So we can go ahead and drag it all the way down here, and then I'm going to start the rotation here again. And hopefully you guys don't find this too fast, but I'm kind of running out of time a little bit because I want to squeeze in as much as I can in this part. So I don't want to keep this going too long because rendering takes ages and so on. Don't want to really go into that. But anyway, so there we are. We joined it up, and then once we get to the end, just going to go into my perspective mode. Now I'm going to select that face and that face, delete both of them, and then just use a merge vertex tool to join these up. Okay, like so, and bam, we got this. And now we're going to quickly go ahead and add in the edge loops. So insert edge loop, just so this will keep its shape, and I don't know where that disappeared to. And something is not right. Well, we've done it on the other side, I don't know why. Let me just figure out why this is freaking out a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna add my loops in here as well, and here, and on the other side, and here as well. Okay, so now if we smooth it, we should get this. And now I'm going to go ahead and scale this down, get our threads back up, and now I'm just going to go ahead and position this at the right places and scale them as well. So I'm going to go into my probably in perspective is easiest. So we're going to have one thinner one going around this bit. Okay, probably make it a bit thicker, something like this. You're going to have another one going around on the other side. So I'm lining up with this little indentation of the thread. Okay, and we're going to have one bigger one going around in the middle. So I'm going to scale this way. And put it right in the middle. Okay, so that looks great. So basically we got our thread made up, it's all joined up as well. You could play around with this a bit more and obviously add more detail to it and so on, but for me, for this moment in time, this will do the job. And then in the next couple of parts we can go ahead and start working on the inner pieces of the threads that should make Wally look pretty cool. But if I turn everything on, just by having the threads on him, it makes him look pretty cool already. So I just added them in as well. And I actually, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and name this. So thread chain 1, thread chain thick, and thread chain 2. And if you want, just for sake of it, you can obviously go ahead and duplicate this, and it's going to take a little bit of time because you're getting it, you're starting to hit quite a lot of polys. And there you go, so you can get a rough idea of how Wally's going to look. Obviously it's going to look a lot better once we have all this stuff inside here. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and I'll see you guys in the next couple of parts where we're going to go ahead and start creating the inner workings of Wally's thread. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit.